All right, so Zach and I have been talking, and we've got this, well, let's call it an ambitious idea. No, it's not another video game challenge or a tabletop model. We're talking about something real. What if we had to build a brand new city, a real one, for 500,000 people? Where would you even start? What would you look for? That's the question we're diving into today. Not with bulldozers and blueprints just yet, but with maps, data, and a whole lot of what-ifs. First things first, you can't just plop a city down anywhere. You need resources, and the most critical one is water. You can't have 500,000 people without a reliable, massive source of fresh water. So, our search immediately narrows down to areas near major rivers, large lakes, or regions with significant, sustainable aquifers. We're not just talking about a quaint little stream. We need a water source that can support homes, industry, agriculture, and still maintain its own ecological balance. So, we're looking at the map. The Great Lakes region jumps out, obviously. Massive amounts of fresh water. But it gets cold. Really cold. That affects construction costs, energy needs, and just the general mood of the populace. How about along the Mississippi or Missouri rivers? Plenty of water there, and it's centrally located, which is great for transportation and logistics. The river system is basically a natural highway for goods. You could establish trade routes from day one, but then you have to think about the land itself. Is it flat? Is it stable? Building on a floodplain is, let's just say, a historically bad idea. We've seen that movie before, and it doesn't end well. We need vast, relatively flat terrain that's not prone to constant flooding, earthquakes, or other natural disasters. So, we're cross-referencing our water map with a geological map. Sorry, California, but with the San Andreas Fault. Building a new megacity there feels like tempting fate a little too much. We also need space. A lot of it. For 500,000 people, you're not just building houses. You need schools, hospitals, parks, commercial zones, industrial areas, and a robust transportation network. You need a buffer zone. You need room to grow, because successful cities always grow. We're looking for a massive, contiguous plot of land that is either already heavily developed or designated as a national park or protected wilderness. We're building a city, not paving paradise. Let's get a little more specific. Zach and I were looking at a few potential regions. There's a spot in the Midwest. Let's say eastern Nebraska or western Iowa. It's near the Missouri River. The land is relatively inexpensive and flat, and it's the heart of America's agricultural breadbasket. You've got food production right on your doorstep. That's a huge plus. No long supply chains for basic necessities. You could literally have farm-to-table for an entire city. But what about the economy? A city needs jobs. It needs an identity. Just being the new city isn't enough. What industry would we attract? With its central location, it could be a logistics and transportation hub. Think massive distribution centers for companies. Or maybe, since we're starting from scratch, we could design it to be a tech hub. Lay down the best fiber optic network in the world from day one and attract tech companies and remote workers looking for a lower cost of living than Silicon Valley. Then there's the climate consideration. Extreme heat can be just as challenging as extreme cold. Parts of Arizona or Texas might have the space, but the water issue becomes incredibly difficult. And the energy required for cooling in the summer would be astronomical. We need a Goldilocks zone. Somewhere with distinct seasons, but none of them are trying to actively kill you for 5 months of the year. The Mid-Atlantic region has some interesting spots, but land prices are higher, and you're competing with established, historic cities. So, after weighing a lot of these factors, we keep coming back to a particular kind of place. Somewhere in the American heartland, but with a twist. What if we found a location that's not just flat and near water, but also has potential for renewable energy? Imagine a city built in a windy corridor in the plains powered almost entirely by a massive next-generation wind farm that we build right along with the city, or a spot with tons of sunlight for a huge solar array. We could build sustainability into the city's DNA. Let's think about the layout. This is the fun part. Since we're not inheriting a messy centuries-old road network, we can design it intelligently. A hub-and-spoke model, a grid system, maybe a series of interconnected, walkable neighborhoods, each with its own small commercial center to reduce reliance on cars. We could mandate green space with a central park that rivals New York's and greenways connecting every neighborhood. We could bury all the utilities from the start, no ugly power lines. The legal and political side is a whole other beast. You can't just buy a few thousand acres and declare it zack. You'd need to work with state and federal governments, deal with zoning laws, environmental impact studies. It's a mountain of paperwork. But for the sake of our thought experiment, let's assume we get a charter. A special economic zone, maybe, to incentivize the first wave of businesses and residents to take a chance on us. So, what's our final answer? Where are we planting our flag? After all this, Zack and I are leaning towards a spot. Let's say in the Ozarks region. Hear me out. You've got hills, which makes it beautiful, but also large. Flatter plateaus, perfect for development. You have major water sources like the White River and massive lakes. The climate is temperate. Land is still affordable. It's beautiful, offering a high quality of life with natural recreation right there. Plus, it's not really known for any one major industry. So it's a blank slate, economically speaking. We could define it. We could build a city that respects the natural landscape. A city of hills and water, focused on tourism, remote work, and maybe specialized clean manufacturing. A modern city with an old soul. Feel. That's our pitch. A brand new city for 500,000 people, nestled in the Ozarks. It's a crazy idea. But every great city started as someone's crazy idea, right? What do you guys think? Where would you build it? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for coming along on this little thought experiment with us. It was a lot of fun to think through. If you enjoyed it, do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next adventure. We'll see ya in the next one.